So today we're starting our new unit on solving equations. Our first lesson is going to be about multi-step equations in distribution, but it's going to be a review because we already have gone over this throughout the year. The homework for tonight is going to be pages 2 through 3. So for the warm-up for this lesson, it's just a question about what does it mean to distribute in math. Before PSSAs, we did a few examples where we were talking about distributing. So I just want you to get in your head an idea of what that may look like. If you had to explain it to someone to distribute something, how would you explain it to them? So for example, if I was to just use letters, right, we do a little method where we circle our term in the front, right? So in this case, I'm going to call it A. And I want to multiply, I want to distribute into my parentheses. I'm going to distribute to my B and distribute to my C, right? And we're multiplying. So I would have A times B plus A times C, right? Same thing over here. I want to take my B and I want to distribute it inside my parentheses. I want to do B times E, but this is important. I want to keep that sign. I want to keep this subtraction, right? My negative F over here. So I'm going to have minus EF. Okay? So, in our note packet, you want to open up. It's going to be page 2, multi-step equations and distribution review. So it says, when distributing, multiply and keep the correct sign. So I have 3 examples right here. So I want to take this term out front, right? My 2, and I want to distribute it inside my parentheses. So I'm going to distribute to my x. I'm going to distribute to my 4. I want to multiply, so I'm doing 2x plus 2 times 4, which is going to be 8. Right? Same thing over here. I have a negative 3 out front. I want to multiply that inside my parentheses. So I'll have negative 3x. Negative 3 times 2 is going to be negative 6. Then my last one over here. I have a 4 outside, and I want to multiply it in. I'm going to do 4 times x, so 4x. I'm going to do 4 times negative 3. You want to keep that sign. So I'll have minus 12. Right? So I'm going to skip over those 3. And at the bottom of your page, there's just a little box of how to solve 2-step equations. Nothing that you haven't already done. But just as a little reminder, you want to undo the subtraction or addition by doing the opposite to both sides and simplify it. Then you want to undo the multiplication or division by doing the opposite to both sides. Simplify again, and then always check your answers. By checking your answers, you can take what you found, right, your solution, and plug it back into the original problem to see if it still works out. So, on our next page, we're going to have some examples over here. So we're going to split this up, right, 2 sides. I have 2x plus 3 equals 15. If I want to get x by itself, I'm solving for x. I want to undo my 3, but I have to do it to both sides. So I get rid of my 3. I'm left with 2x equals 12. I want to divide by 2, and I'll get x equals 6. Okay. Now over here, we'll do the same thing. Split up my sides. I want to get b by itself, so I have to add 2 to both sides. I'm left with 4b equals 24. Divide by 4, and I get b equals 6. Okay. I want to jump down to these next 2. This one and this one. Okay. Now, if I wanted to get x by itself in this one, I want to solve for x. I have to get rid of this 3 on the bottom first. It's dividing that whole side by 3. So to do the opposite, I want to multiply that by 3. Or I can look at it as 3 over 1. Right? And it's going to cancel them out. But we have to do the same thing to both sides. So I want to multiply by 3 on this side too. So after I do this, I'm left with x minus 7 equals negative 36. And I can just add 7 to both sides. And I get x equals negative 29 is my answer. My next example, it's a little similar, where I have something underneath, but I can get rid of this 6 first. I can add this 6 to both sides. And I have b over 4 4 equals 12. Now I can multiply by this reciprocal, right? So I can multiply by 4 here and they cancel, but I have to do the same thing on both sides. So I'll get b equals 48. Okay. Now, on these last two examples, I have 1/2 x plus 4 equals 20. I can subtract 4 from both sides first. So I have 1/2 x equals 16. Now, I want to get rid of this 1/2, so I have to multiply by the reciprocal, right? Which would just be 2. That cancels it out. And I have to multiply by 2 on this side too. And then I'm left with x equals 32. And over here, some of the problems we'll be doing will be in decimals, right? Same thing, we just split it up. I'm going to subtract 19.36 from each side. We'll cancel that out, so I'm left with 3.4b equals negative 29.58, right? Because I started with a negative 10.22 and subtracted, so it needed a bigger negative, okay? Then I'm going to divide by 3.4 on both sides, and I'm left with b equals negative 8.7. So that is going to be all of our examples. Like I said, for homework, it's going to be page 2 and 3 for this lesson.